Hello everyone, welcome to session number 29, and the topic we will be discussing in this session is the play titled A Streetcar Named Desire, written by a well-known American playwright Tennessee Williams. So in the last session I have given you a brief introduction about the playwright Tennessee Williams, about his life and his major works. So you are already familiar with the playwright Tennessee Williams. So he is one of the most prominent playwrights of American literature. Was a contemporary of other famous playwrights such as Eugene O'Neill and Arthur Miller, and he occupies a very significant position in American literary history, okay, in the third, fourth and fifth decade of 20th century. So when we read his plays, we must be aware that most of the plays, they carry an autobiographical element in them, because the personal experiences and trauma which Tennessee Williams experienced in his life, he brings those experiences in the plays which he has written. When I say the personal experiences, you must know that he was both physically and mentally affected by illness and the excessive alcoholism of his father and the ill health of his sister. So this kind of atmosphere had a greater impact on the mind of Tennessee Williams, which he reflects in his writings. And the other thing is, since his family was economically not so well off, they were constantly moving from one place to another place, which in turn resulted in his discontinuation of education. It was not a continuous stretch, one single stretch. So that is also very much evident in his writing. So finally he graduated in the year 1939, and in 1940 he joined an advanced playwriting class at the New School in the city of New York, which was a turning point in his life. So as a writer, there is one interesting fact about Tennessee Williams. Yes, we look at the Glass Menagerie as his first work, but there is one important interesting fact that at a very young age of 16 years, actually Tennessee Williams won $5 for his interesting essay, "Can a Good Wife Be a Good Sport?" So that was his first towards to the field of writing. But we all know that he became famous with his influential play, The Glass Menagerie, okay, which was published and enacted in the year 1944. So as a writer, Tennessee Williams has written 25 plays and many one-act plays and 2 novels. So his style of writing can be considered as realistic, lyrical, and he uses Freudian approach. Okay, so these three are important stylistic elements in his writing, and I have explained in detail in my earlier session about the style of his writing, and I hope you are all familiar with that. So what we will do in this session, there are two objectives. The first one is to give a brief introduction to the play A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams. This is the first objective. And the other one, that is to introduce students to the characters in the play. Okay, so what we will be doing, we will be looking into a brief introduction about the play, and also we will try to understand the major and minor characters in the play and what is their relationship, and how these characters influence the plot development in the play. So that I will explain it in brief. So when we read the play scene by scene, then we will be able to make critical analysis of the characters later at the end of the play, but now it is just brief introduction about the characters which appear in the play A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams. Okay, so let us begin our understanding by looking into the title of the play. So the title is A Streetcar Named Desire. So how one can understand the title here? You must understand streetcar is a major modes of transportation in the city of New Orleans in the United States of America. So the title comes from this streetcar in the city of New Orleans that runs along Desire Street. Okay, so remember the title comes from the streetcar. If you happen to visit New Orleans in future, you will come to know that it is a very important source of transportation for most of the people in New Orleans. So this streetcar, it runs along the street named Desire. Okay, so here the Blanche Dubois, the central character of the play, when the play begins, she takes this streetcar which run along the Desire Street and to reach Elysian Park, where she has to visit the house of her sister Stella. Okay, so this is the background. Okay, why I am saying this, because Blanche Dubois, with so much of desire, she comes to visit her younger sister with so much of desire, so much of dream. So in that sense, the title is significant. She takes a streetcar and it is symbolic of her desire, and she has to travel through the Desire Street and she has to reach her destination, and she will reach the house, and what happens next is totally contrasting to her expectations. That we will look into, we will understand in the next sessions. So what happens to her desires? Are they really fulfilled? So what Williams is suggesting through this title, I hope you remember at the end of my last session I said one important fact about Williams writing this particular play, A Streetcar Named Desire, where Williams he confesses that he felt that he is going to die within few days, and he wanted to tell about the unfulfilled desires of life and also to the fact that death is the ultimate truth. So his intention was to make sure that that desires are most of the time unfulfilled, and that too in the context in which this play was written. It was written, as you can see, it was published in 1947 and enacted in the same year. This is like this is the period post Second World War period, when people were facing a kind of existential dilemma. There was still kind of absurd situation where most of the desires, there was no hope of future. So in that sense, desires were unfulfilled. Okay, and the other thing, this was the period when there was a great threat to the very concept of American dream. Since we are looking into a text of American literature, you must all know American dream, the very concept of American dream is significant in American literature. American dream is the dream and hope of every individual to secure a better, happy life. Okay, so it is assured for every individual in America, but this very dream, this desire was totally shattered in post Second World War scenario. So in that sense, this title becomes very much significant. So streetcar is symbolic of human beings, and the desire is the engine or machine which propels this vehicle, which means streetcar. So it is like our body is also propelled by desires. Yes, in that sense, this title becomes very much significant. Okay, so this streetcar runs in the city of New Orleans on the Desire Street. So the setting of the play is very much clear. The story takes place in the city of New Orleans. So what I suggest you to make some more research and find out about the history of New Orleans. It will definitely help you to understand this play in a better manner. Okay, so there are two important neighborhoods in the city of New Orleans. The first one is Desire and the second one is Cemeteries, and the title is taken from this one particular neighborhood, and the streetcar, it runs along Desire Street. Okay, so what happens in the beginning of the play? The central character, you can call her as protagonist, okay, the main character, Blanche Dubois. She takes streetcar named Desire and she arrives at Elysian Fields. Okay, so Elysian Fields were part of Greek mythology, where ancient Greeks they believed that the heroes who die in the war field, after their death they go to Elysian Fields. Okay, so in that sense this name is very much significant. So Elysian Fields is symbolic of desire and dreams getting fulfilled. So Blanche Dubois, she arrives in the beginning of the play to Elysian Fields with so much of desire, and she takes streetcar named Desire. She arrives. She wants to meet her younger sister Stella, who is now married. Okay, and I'll come to her details of Stella later, and even Blanche. So this is the title, A Streetcar Named Desire. Looking into the setting, I have already explained. The story takes place, the plot, everything happens in the city of New Orleans, and that too in the French Quarter. It appears to be very much multicultural and cosmopolitan in its outlook. So New Orleans has already gained a reputation of being a cosmopolitan city even at the end of Second World War. And there is another important thing. The story takes place in a French Quarter, okay, a French locality, and it is very much multicultural. I have already explained in the earlier session that America has to be understood, the society of America has to be understood as a multicultural, ethnic, immigrant society. You find people belonging to different cultures and ethnicities in America. So this is a French Quarter. People of different culture and different ethnicities are staying in that quarter, because you have characters who are of French origin, then native or American origin, and you have characters who come from African origin. So in that sense, the setting is very multicultural and also cosmopolitan in its outlook. So the plot, if I have to explain it in one sentence, it is related to the arrival of Blanche Dubois with so much of dreams and desires to forget her past, to come out of her past, and looking for a better future, which she is seeking now, and eventually her realization and breakdown that her dreams, her desires are not at all going to be fulfilled. So this is the plot. To put it in simple way, Blanche's desire for better future and her ultimate realization that she is not going to get it. So this is the plot of the play, A Streetcar Named Desire. Okay, and the context, okay, historical period or context in which this play was written and performed, that it was premiered and performed in the year 1947. It was performed by the actors of Broadway theater in the city of New York into a world that was looking forward into the future after Second World War. Okay, so this is also very much significant, because the entire war ridden society where economy was totally shattered, and on the other hand, the end of Second World War also marks the beginning of America rising into power as a very strong nation in the world. So this play was written in that historical context, and it was enacted in front of audience who have just witnessed the horrors of Second World War. So now I'll come to key facts, some important facts, details about the play. I'll just read them out and explain whenever it is necessary. So the full title is A Streetcar Named Desire. I have already explained you the significance of the title and how this title plays a very important role to the plot of the play. And it was written somewhere in between 1946 and 1947, but it was performed in the year 1947 and published in 1947. So where it was written, so maybe the writer Tennessee Williams was in a constant in a movement, going places when he wrote this play, because it was written in New York, Los Angeles, and finally in New Orleans. Okay, so New Orleans is the setting of the play, and it was published and it was performed by Broadway Theatre, premiered in December 3rd, 1947. And the literary period, there are you can group it to so many uh, literary genres or periods of that period. You can call it as the period of modernism, you can call it as period of absurd theater, but here I have used the term dramatic naturalism. Okay, so very much realistic naturalistic approach Williams has used. And then genre, it belongs to a genre of psychological drama. So this is very important. I have already explained in the last session that one of the style of Williams's writing is that he uses Freudian approach. He is more interested to know the psychological development in a character. So in that sense, this genre of psychological drama can also be seen in his play A Streetcar Named Desire. Okay, so the play starts with Blanche DuBois arriving at New Orleans to see her sister and hoping for better future with so much of desires, to hide her identity from the past and to create a new identity. So this is what she wants to do, but the climax is this. The play ends with Stanley raping Blanche, and at the end of scene number 10, that's the penultimate scene of the play, in scene 10 he rapes her, which ultimately puts an end to her expectations of life, what she desired and what happened with her life. So protagonist is Blanche DuBois, whereas antagonist is Stanley Kowalski. That is how you can see these two characters opposite to each other. So now the second objective of our session, that is to understand and to look into the major characters of the play in A Streetcar Named Desire. So the first character, the protagonist, the central character of the play, her name is Blanche DuBois. Okay, so when I say Blanche DuBois, what you can see that the surname DuBois is of French origin. Okay, it's a French surname. Actually, it has to be pronounced as Dubois, but American pronunciation is DuBois, so I will be using it in my explanation of the play. DuBois, and Blanche is also a term, French term. So Blanche refers to and Blanche is also American terminology, American accent of pronouncing it, but in French you have to pronounce it as Blanche. Okay, so her name is Blanche DuBois, but we call it as Blanche DuBois. Okay, so when the meaning of her name is very important to understand here. DuBois refers to a lady from the woods, whereas Blanche refers to a female who is white in color. So which means a white woman from the woods. That's the meaning of her name. So the term white itself carries different connotations such as purity, innocence, simplicity. But what is the intention of Tennessee Williams of naming his central character as Blanche DuBois? Okay, so it is a very conscious and intentional effort on the part of the writer to name the central character in such a way that the meaning of her name is someone who is very pure and innocent, but it is totally different when we understand the character of Blanche DuBois. Okay, so what Williams is trying to suggest here, that ironically he may be saying that what you are called by your name need not necessarily what you are in your real life. Okay, so we will come to know that when we read the play and analyze the character of Blanche Dubais, she is no more innocent, she is no more pure. Yes, and what has happened in her past, and how she looks into her present, and what future plans she has, desires she has for her future. Okay, so who is this Blanche Du Bois? So I'm repeating it. I'm using American pronunciation. The original pronunciation is Blanche Du Bois in French. So this Blanche Du Bois, she is a woman who is 30 years old. Okay, and she was working as a high school English teacher in Laurel in the state of Mississippi, and unfortunately recently, very recently, okay, she was forced to leave her position as a teacher, and we will come to know what was the reason behind that when we read the play. So this is her present situation when the play begins, that she was working as an English teacher, but she was forced. Okay, it's not that her decision to leave the job, it was she was forced to quit that job, leave a position. So now she has arrived to the city of New Orleans. Okay, in the beginning of the play, she was a teacher at Mississippi, Laurel, but now she is in New Orleans to meet her younger sister. So about her personal life and her past, what you have to remember before we read the play is that as a young woman, she was married to a man, but later she discovered that the person to whom she was married, who turns out to be a homosexual, and that man also committed suicide. Okay, because it was discovered by his wife. When Blanche comes to know about his secret, he commits a suicide. Okay, though all these things happen, we'll come to know in a broader sense when we read the play. So he commits suicide. This is one incident which has happened in her life, a very tragic incident. And the other thing is, Blanche, she loves her sister Stella very much. Okay, and what you can see in the very beginning of the play, that when she comes to meet Stella, and when she meets her, she tries to get her sister to escape to escape from New Orleans, actually, sorry, escape from New Orleans, because she was not happy with the way in which her sister leading her present life, because both these Blanche and Stella, they they belong to aristocratic family earlier, but the present scenario is totally different. Stella, her sister, now she is married, and the kind of place where she is staying now in the city of New Orleans, it is very much evident that now she is no more a part of that sophisticated life, which is something very much disturbing for Blanche. So she tries to convince her to come out of this sad situation of hers. And the other thing, Blanche, when she arrives at New Orleans, she was very much repulsed by Stanley Kowalski, that is her sister's Stella's husband, and yet very important, she was hypnotically attracted by the physical power of Stanley, like a moth to the flame. Yes, of course, she was attracted like that, because when a moth gets attracted to the flame, it ultimately results in its death. So this is about Blanche Du Bois, the central character. The next one is I'll go to Stella Kowalski. I have already explained she is the younger daughter, younger sister of Blanche Du Bois, and she was Stella Kowalski's wife. Okay, and Stella is the calm, reasonable foil to Blanche's frantic hysteria. There is a very deep contrast between Stella and Blanche. Blanche appears to be very frantic, and she appears to be losing her nerves at times. And you must also know that at the time the play begins, we will also come to know in the very first scene that Blanche has become alcoholic, and she is addicted to alcohol. So it is evident that she loses her calmness many a time, she loses her nerves many a times, whereas Stella appears to be very calm in her approach, very reasonable, and she is very clear about the decisions she has taken in her life, and she is not at all repenting for those decisions. And then Stella when she was said by her sister, that is to leave away all this life at New Orleans and to come with her. She totally rejects it, and she says that she has no desire to go back to her past, and she has made her life in New Orleans with Stanley, and she is happy and she is content with whatever has happened with her life. And then we also come to know in the beginning that now Stella is pregnant, and her pregnancy underscores her commitment to Kowalski's future and not her Du Bois past. Okay, very important. So now she's totally committed to her familial life, to Stanley Kowalski, and her being pregnant is evident of her commitment to the relationship with Stanley. So now comes the other significant character, the antagonist, you can say, Stanley Kowalski. Okay, Stanley Kowalski, if you remember in my earlier session where we looked into the personal life of Tennessee Williams, we read a very interesting fact that at the age of 31, when he was working in some shoe factory, he met a person named Stanley Kowalski. So this is not something, the name, the character maybe is not something which came out of his imagination, but maybe he had some image in his mind out of his past experience where he had met a person named Stanley Kowalski, who was very muscular and was working in a factory. And the same image is very much replicated when he created this character Stanley Kowalski with the same name in the play. Stanley is Stella's husband, and about him he is full of strength, violent masculinity, and animal magnetism. Okay, so he is see, if you see the character of uh, uh, Stanley and compare it with the background of Blanche and Stella, Stanley represent that working class, whereas Stella and Blanche represent the upper class. So Stanley lacks that sophistication. So he is not so particular about the kind of language he uses, the grammatical correctness, and he is not at all bothered about the eliteness of leading one's life in the society. So he is full of violent masculinity, and he is also well built, very masculine in his appearance and in his approach. That is very much evident when we read the play. And his extreme virility is a direct combat and contrast to Blanche's homosexual husband who had committed suicide. Okay, so here when Blanche sees Stanley, it's like a hate and love relationship develops between them. On the one hand, she hates him. Blanche hates Stanley for the reason, the kind of life he is leading, to his class affiliation, and for the lack of sophistication in him. On the other hand, she is very much attracted towards his masculinity and towards his virility, because it is totally in contrast with her dead husband, whom she discovers to be homosexual. Okay, so in that way she gets attracted towards Stanley. On the other hand, Stanley, he loves Stella, and Stella is the soft feminine foil to his violent ways. Okay, so whatever aggressive nature which you see in Stanley is totally substantiated by the soft feminine attitude of Stella. And however, Stanley is drawn to Blanche. You can, that happens in the play. He gets attracted. He also gets attracted towards her, or is it an attraction? We will come to this question. Is it just an attraction, or was there some other intention behind the action which takes place in the play's climax, where Stanley rapes Blanche while Stella is in the hospital delivering the baby? So that is the climax part of the play. So this is Stanley Kowalski, the antagonist of the play, very masculine, very robust in his approach, which is totally in contrast with Stella and Blanche. So the other important character is Harold Michel, and in short he is called as Mitch in the play. So Mitch is a gentleman, and he is one of Stanley's poker playing friends. Okay, so he's a Stanley's friends, and this game of poker is also occupies a very central or significant importance in the play, because most of the time what you see in Stanley's house, that you see all the friends sitting and playing poker and spending their times, or they are all having a chat. This is a game of poker being repeatedly. The reference of poker is taken in the play. And Mitch and Blanche, what happens in the play when Blanche arrives at New Orleans, when she happens to meet Mitch, they both develop a relationship, and but that relationship is short lived, because Mitch is ultimately driven away. He rejects her when he learns about her sordid past. Okay, we'll come to know what kind of past she had later, but she was rejected by Blanche. So you see a very short lived love relationship between Mitch and Blanche in the play. So these are major characters which I have discussed so far. Then there are minor characters. Okay, you can call them as minor characters. Eunice and Steve, husband and wife, and they both they live on Kowalski's upstairs in their neighborhood. Eunice and Steve. And then Pablo is also another one of Stanley's poker playing friends. Then you have a Negro woman, a neighbor, who is chatting with Eunice and Blanche when Blanche arrives at Elysian Fields for the first time. So when play begins, you see this woman, a Negro woman, when she was sitting with Eunice outside, and these two see Blanche arriving, who seemed to be totally confused, looking for the address where she wanted to meet her sister Stella. And then have character of a doctor, and the doctor is from the mental asylum, and he comes in the last part of the play to take Blanche away. Okay, then we have a matron, a nurse. She is also from the mental asylum, and she accompanies the doctor to take Blanche when she is sent at the end of the play to the asylum. Then we have a young man who comes in the play, who is a collector of subscriptions for the newspaper. And Blanche, at the end part of the play, he tries to seduce this young man, and we'll come to this incident, and we'll try to interpret what was the intention behind the act of Blanche. Then we have Mexican woman, a street vendor who comes to the apartment. Okay, and her role is also very significant. I will come to that. I will not explain in detail about what is the role of Mexican woman. She is a street vendor. We'll come to know what she sells and how it affects Blanche in a very hysterical way, because she always gets frightened by the sound of this Mexican woman, a street vendor. So these are some of the major and minor characters in the play. Streetcar Named Desire. So far what we have done in this session, we looked into two important aspects. That is, we looked into the introductory part of the play. The play was first published and performed in the year 1947, and it gained so much reputation to Tennessee Williams, and we also know that this work had won the prestigious Pulitzer Prize in the year 1951. And it was performed in front of audience who were part of this post-Second World War society. And the second important aspect which we discussed in this session is to understand the major characters and also some of the minor characters who appear in the play A Streetcar Named Desire. So from next session onwards, we will try to analyze the play thematically and also scene wise. That is what we will do in the coming sessions. I hope this session is useful to your understanding of the play A Streetcar Named Desire. Please read the original play so that it will help you more to understand it. Thank you.